Hello, I'm Pat McGibbon, and I'm here to talk about the U.S. Manufacturing Technologies Orders Report for July. July orders were $337 million, and that's an increase of 2% from June 2020. So we're on an upward track because June was up significantly from May. And it's a 14% decrease from where we were in July of 2019. Not too bad, because July of 2019 actually was a very good month. And according to the last USMTO report we have, the year-to-date decline was 24.7%. In other words, down a negative 24.7%. And that's relative to the first 7 months of 2019. Now, there's a particular point I want to draw here. In June, that number was negative 26.4. So we've actually, even though it's still a negative number, we've actually got less worse. So we're moving in the right direction, back towards a place where we can say we are at the bottom and we're starting to come out. So looking at July 2020 versus July 2019, the national numbers were down 14% from July 2019, as I said. So in comparison, the southeast area and the north central east area both had positive numbers. In other words, their July was better than July of 2019. That's fantastic. Southeast was built primarily on automotive and medical and contract machining orders. The north central east had a handful of positive industries. In other words, industries that did better than June, and many of them doing better than July of 2019. But I have to give out the big award to the automobile industry, because they had a really significant order in that particular region, and then a handful of parts and component orders scattered through the rest of the region. So it was really an automotive show, and not just on the cutting side, on the stamping side as well. The West was off from 2019 July levels, but it was an even smaller decline than the national decline. So it means it was moving in the right direction as well. And that out there in the West was led by defense, medical, and contract machining as well. The strength in industries overall, as I said, was the automobile industry. Better than June and better than July of 2019. And some of that had to do with a couple of significant orders. And I'll come back to that in just a second about the significance of significant orders. But the medical equipment industry, which has stalled a bit in June, is back on track in July. And I think, according to what our members are saying, that has a lot to do with so many regions, so many areas beginning to open up a bit and easing the restrictions on elective surgery. And so there's been a greater demand for joint replacements and for surgical tools that go into the process of doing elective surgery. So that's good news. The power generation distribution industry was also doing really well last month. Well, actually, not only on a monthly basis, but actually it was even better than it was in July of 2019 as well. And it's been showing some strength in May and June, and this is continuing to grow. In fact, it looks like an industry that, if you're looking for some place to do business, it's one that's may have hit its trough already. Still, it's too early to make a call on the move to recovery for the overall metalworking and manufacturing technology sectors. But there are a lot of industries that are doing better than they did last month, and consistently doing better than the average of the last few months. And that's important, because that shows that it's not just a upsy and downsy, that there's a continuing trend. If you're better than the average of the last 3 months, you're showing a continuing trend upwards. And we have about 12 of our industries that we follow, 12 out of 27, that are on this path of doing better than their 3-month average. And there were also some fairly significant projects. I mentioned earlier about the automotive project in the East North Central, but it wasn't the only place there were some projects let loose. There was the Southeast. It was a benefit for an automotive project as well. Out in the West, in Utah, there was some significant orders related to a project, not in the auto industry, but a one particular company making significant investment and moving forward with a project and a new product that we are launching. And then in the South, in this deep South, Louisiana, we saw a project that had been talked about, I guess, back in March amongst the several distributors, and someone was able to book that in July as well. And so I'm not sure who, but congratulations to the person who got it. But the key thing here is that the project's coming together now. And these ones we were talking about as the pandemic was beginning to start, They are now coming to fruition, and we're realizing them go down the path from engineering and discussions and negotiations into the actual order phase. Because from here on in, it gets expensive to cancel because these are projects that are going to have millions, if not tens of millions of dollars involved and bring them from concept to the production floor. But other good news going around town. Manufacturing job openings was up over 400,000 last month. That's awesome. And it's one of the brightest numbers I've seen in that particular statistic in over 9 months. And then finally, the New York Fed released its economic index, which is a sense of economic activity, very similar to the Chicago economic index that comes out on a monthly basis. This one comes out on a weekly basis and is revised a couple times. But the point here is that it gives you a sense of potential against the norm. In other words, at negative 4%, it's saying we're 4% less than what our potential was for the economy. And that number has been getting gradually smaller, or actually gradually getting larger, because it went from -5 where it was to -4 this week, is a move in the right direction, in a positive direction and positive sense, from again -5 to -4. Kind of bring it to the end. I hope you were watching today. I was just so proud of AMT and the folks at the IMTS Network, because it was just stunning. The production quality, the information that was passed in, that I had it on for a good part of the day when I wasn't involved in Zoom calls. And I encourage you to take a look at not only what has been produced and posted, but also the live shows that will be coming up during the course of the rest of the week. But I couldn't leave here without putting a little special pump in for what I'll be doing with our new product comes on after our IMTS Network, Spark, IMTS Spark. And I and Chris Downs, a couple of other people like Steve Klein and Amber Thomas will be there every Wednesday to talk about some of the key business news, legislative things that are going to have an impact on you down the road. We'll have one particular show after the election to talk about what the election means now as far as the economy and the impact on manufacturing. So until next week, when I hope to have this continuing upbeat message, stay safe and stay busy.